I honestly think the GT team had given up by this point. We don't even have to get into the Super 17 stuff. Look no further than the OP. Originally, it reflected the space adventure with the trio, but then it was changed to reflect the new Baby Saga. It would never change again. There was no Super 17 version or Evil Dragons version of the OP. It's like everyone on the team just figured after Baby, we know we're cancelled. Who even cares anymore? Let's just get this thing over with. Episode 42 kicks off the Super 17 arc of Dragon Ball GT. And before we get started, I have an important announcement to make here. Episode 42 of Dragon Ball GT, Dai Goku, Mighty Enemies Return from Hell, is the second worst episode of Dragon Ball ever made, falling only behind GT Episode 1. Watching it again caused me physical pain. I'm serious, my stomach hurts, and my throat hurts. You know how much audio I've recorded for this video? My voice is dead. And after episode 42 of GT, my soul is dead too. Let's get into it, shall we? We start on Dr. Mew. He's in a dark cave or something, but we quickly learn that he's actually in hell. And already, just moments into this arc, something is wrong. This is not the hell we've been exposed to in Dragon Ball up to this point. Hell is supposed to look like this, with the jelly beans and stuff. Remember? Movie 12? The home for infinite losers we saw in DBZ also looked different. We saw it when Goku fell off Snake Way, and when all the villains are gathered to watch the fight with Boo. Funny enough, all those moments where we see Hell in the anime are actually filler. Toriyama never visits Hell in the original manga, and we don't see his version of Hell until Resurrection F. But after the original manga, the anime-only stuff is like the second tier of canon, right? That's where all of Dragon Ball GT operates. So, with all this already established, why the devil would you change the look of Hell to be this dark cave? I mean, could you get any more boring with this design? The jelly beans were unique. Like, unless you have some awesome idea that you simply must use, why not stick to the jelly beans with all the sharp spikes and stuff? What an awesome design for Hell this was. But no, instead we get the dark cave. Maybe the worst interpretation of Hell I've ever seen in all of fiction. So we're off to a good start. Before a single word is even uttered, we see Dr. Mew meet his thick mustached counterpart, Dr. Gero. I guess in this universe, robots go to hell? Cell was in hell, so whatever. If you have a soul, you go to hell, robots included. Gero tells Mew that if they put their minds together, they can take revenge on Son Goku. I mean, you're both dead, but okay, sure. We find Goku with his family and friends when suddenly a bloodied and beaten Trunks appears, mentioning Android 17. They go outside to see a giant spooky hole in the sky. That's not normal. Kaiosama explains to Goku that the other world and Earth have become stuck together for some reason. Okay, I guess we gotta investigate. We suddenly cut over to Android 17 with a spooky black aura surrounding him. It's a cool visual, but then we hear someone speaking to him, someone that sounds just like him, and it is him, another Android 17. He's in hell with Gero and Mew. The two 17s like power up and shoot their spooky black aura into the spooky hole in the sky at the same time. And I presume this ritual has created this hole and the other world becoming stuck to Earth. Earth is in ruin again, with the citizens all panicking and trying to get out of town to avoid the impending apocalypse. It's been a really long time since the last apocalyptic situation here on Earth. It was 2 whole episodes ago. The GT team is flexing their creative muscles here once again. It's like they have no idea how to create any stakes at all for our characters, so they just default back to, the world is gonna end? See, everyone's panicking. The whole world is gonna die, so that means we should be afraid of the big bad villain. Let's take a moment and see how Toriyama avoided situations like this, where you're doing the exact same thing back to back. The fight with Vegeta was away from the general public. Obviously, Frieza was on Namek. Cell announced the Cell games to the world, but ultimately that fight was away from the public too. It wasn't until Majin Buu where we really saw the end of the world scenario play out when Boo, killed everyone on Earth because he was bored? Twice? Here in GT, we go from the apocalypse at the end of the last arc to an apocalypse at the beginning of this arc. Surely they must have realized they were repeating almost the exact same scenario a mere 2 episodes apart. I guess not. Or maybe they just didn't care. But that's nothing. That's nothing compared to the real issue here. The issue that completely blows my mind. There's a second Android 17 in Hell. How is there another Android 17 in Hell? He just appears. There's no explanation given at all. Over on Earth, Dr. Gero had a secret lab, right? That's where he created his super powerful androids. Also, remember, 17 wasn't even a pure robot. He was a human. Gero kidnapped the twins and installed cybernetic upgrades within them. He didn't build them from scratch, so we are to believe that Gero and Mew have built a perfect replica of Android 17 in Hell. Okay, with what parts? With what tools? With what lab? How? How could you build a robot in Hell? Where would the resources come from? It's Hell. So, of course, these questions are never answered, and they don't even try. Hellfighter 17 just pops up. He's built, and I guess he's as strong as the 17 on Earth. Also, somehow, the kind 17 that provided Ki to Goku during the Buu saga is evil now. We are never told how or why, and somehow this 17 from Hell can communicate with the 17 on Earth from Hell. Then somehow, some way, they know to power up simultaneously and send their Ki out. Earth 17 sends it to the sky, Hell 17 sends it to this hole. And by doing this,
it opened the gates of hell!
Well, hey, obviously this is all very common knowledge. There's really no need to explain. Everyone knows that's how you open the gates of hell and create a spooky hole in the sky. It even works in real life. If you communicate with your robot counterpart in Hell and channel all your Ki into the sky and ground respectively, you open a portal to Hell. We are not even at the halfway point of the first episode of this arc, and it's already the worst thing I've ever seen in the entire history of fiction. I know now that going forward, every single word coming out of Gero or Mew's mouth is going to be crap, because absolutely nothing makes any sense at all. And when nothing makes sense, and there's no rules, and you could do anything, where is the tension? Where is the build? All it does is introduce questions. If they could build a 17 in Hell, why not build more? Why not build an army of 17s? What's the rush? They must have built that 17 pretty quickly, since none of our characters have aged since the last time we saw them. Take 3 years and build 20 17s and go invade Earth that way. You see how everything starts to fall apart when you just do anything you want, totally unexplained? Gero explains that 17 was originally supposed to have tremendous power, greater than even cells. I get it, you have to make 17 into a threat for our heroes, who have become far more powerful since the Android saga and would dispose of 17 with ease. So you have to give him something. Personally, I like the way they powered up 17 in Super. He's already strong, but he never trained before, so he trained. He also has infinite stamina, so he probably trained a lot, more than even the Saiyans could. Suddenly, come the Tournament of Power, he's close to Goku and Vegeta's level of strength. It's really simple, but it makes sense. I'm sure GT will also have a totally simple and straightforward explanation too, and it'll make perfect sense. Yep. Gero continues, saying 17 was actually incomplete. Well, so far I'm with you. They did come out of those pods early way back when, so he has dormant power because he was incomplete. Okay, but then we learn that the 17 from Hell will join together with the Earth 17 to become one, and this will awaken the dormant power. Okay, now that sounds pretty dumb on the surface, but I'm trying here. I'm really trying here. Gero has a thing with absorptions. He built those hand things that could absorb Ki. He created Cell, who could absorb anything. So to me, if I'm being very, very generous, I could believe that 17 and 18 have a secret absorption or fusion ability. Like he programmed his most recent android models to be able to merge if needed, which makes them exponentially stronger. But since 17 kicked his head off, he couldn't tell him that, so they never knew about it or used it. Besides, they're twin brother and sister. They probably don't want to fuse. That's weird. So with this logic, we could assume the Hell 17 has the ability to fuse also. There. GT never says that. God forbid they even try to explain themselves on some of this stuff, but I'll write the story for them. That's my headcanon, and I'm sticking to it. Then, we get further proof that the GT writers have no idea what they're doing. We learn from Trunks that 17 stopped him dead in his tracks, caused his car to crash, and proceeded to blow his ass away. Trunks then says, that key is the same key as number 18. Alright kids, can anyone share with the class what's wrong here? That's right, Timmy. You can't sense an android's key. You know, it was only the entire concept of the android saga. Androids terrorize the Earth, and they do so in secret because they're robots, and you can't sense their key. So Android 20 is able to catch Yamcha by surprise and do this. The androids go on a road trip to find Goku, and our heroes can't track them. 18 is running away from Cell, and as long as she stays hidden, Cell can't find her and absorb her because you can't sense her key. Like, did they even watch Dragon Ball Z? Why is this line in here? Trunks could just say, hey, he looks just like 18 and leave it at that. The line about the key tells you the writers legitimately don't know the Dragon Ball story and the rules of this universe. And obviously that's been clear since episode 1, but this is just another explicit example. So 17 beats Trunks' ass and tells him all the evil beings Goku sent to Hell are about to come back and terrorize Earth. And it's like, again? The GT team either doesn't know other Dragon Ball material, or they just have no problem doing exactly what was done in the past. We've literally seen this already with movie 12. But you know, even Toriyama himself has no problem doing exactly what was done in the past, so maybe I should just shut the hell up. So anyways, 17 tells Trunks to tell Goku to come to Hell alone. And you're thinking, come on, Goku's not going to listen to this evil villain. Right? Right, Goku? You're not gonna just do what he says. We then come to a point in the episode where quite literally every word that comes out of a character's mouth is wrong. Goku says, damn, with them rampaging all over the place at the same time like this, there ain't any way to defend against them. There isn't? Really? Who are you worried about exactly? You have multiple Super Saiyans and frickin' Majoob on your squad. Who would cause an issue? The Saibai men? Nappa? Dodoria and Zarbon? Like, Pan could probably take out 80% of these geeks by herself. The rest are easily dealt with by Vegeta, Gohan, Oob, and the others. What is Goku talking about? Then, Bulma says, if Cell and Frieza were to come back to life like this, what in the world would we do? Defeat them easily? Frieza and Cell have been small fries for years. Goku just went Super Saiyan 4. Oob just fused with Majin Buu, who alone wrecks Cell and Frieza. Like, hello? Why are our characters talking like complete idiots? God damn. Toriyama would never do something as lazy as having Frieza and Cell come back to life. Wait, what are these pictures? Where are these pictures coming from? Why are these pictures here? Anyways, as we probably should have expected, Goku goes to Hell alone, just like the evil villain asked. No pressure on him to do so, by the way. It's not like the villains, you know, kidnapped someone or threatened to kill someone and Goku was like forced into it. Nope. He just does it freely and casually. Good idea, Goku. Android 17 should have also said, hey Son Goku, when you fight us, don't use your arms or legs and also close your eyes, unless you're a coward. If he literally said those words, this version of Goku would have probably done exactly that. But hey, whatever, it's Goku. What are they gonna do to him? He should be able to easily whoop the asses of every last soul in Hell. We then immediately cut to Goten and Trunks one-shotting a bunch of geeks. Then Pan proceeds to one-shot all the original Dragon Ball villains, which is a cute little moment. This all happens in the span of like 20 seconds. What was Goku worried about again? So as soon as Goku arrives in Hell, Mew, Gero, and 17 are like, bye, and they fly away through the portal to Earth, and they close it behind them instantly. I guess they have full control over the portal and when it opens and closes. And it closes so fast that the literal most powerful being in the entire universe can't get there quick enough to get through. So now idiot Goku is stuck somewhere while our main villain is free to wreak havoc on Earth. Wait, this is reminding me of something. Oh no, oh no, 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 no. Okay, there's no way it's that bad. But yes, once again, in the very next arc, we see Goku getting stuck against his will in the afterlife. At least there won't be any stupid comedy filler this time around. I mean, this is Hell, the most evilest place there is. They wouldn't do comedy in Hell. Now, Goku isn't even dead. He's being wrongly imprisoned in Hell, right? Why can't he just be sent back to Earth? Where is Enmadayo? Where is Kaioshin? Can't he just do the Kai teleport thing and bring him back to Earth? Do Kaioshin have no jurisdiction over Hell? It's not even breaking any rules. He's not dead. The afterlife is definitely a weird thing in the world of Dragon Ball, but we've literally seen Goku use instant transmission to bring Cell to Kaiosama's planet, right? He's teleported from Kaioshin's realm to Earth. Why can't he teleport back to Earth from Hell? Do you really think the GT writers are going to answer any of these questions? Surprise, surprise, they explain nothing. They never explain how Gero, Mew, and 17 are able to open this portal from Hell to Earth where all the old villains return. At least in movie 12, when this exact same thing happened, there was some kind of explanation why souls from Hell were crossing over to Earth. It was goofy, but at least we see that soul cleansing machine break, Janemba is created, and it starts to cause all sorts of problems. It's something. That's all I'm asking for here. Here's an idea. Where's Kid Buu at? For some reason, we don't see him show up here in GT. Remember that time Buu screamed real loud and opened up a portal from the time chamber to Kami's lookout? That was pretty dumb, but it established that powerful beings in Dragon Ball can like rip a hole in time and space and go from one dimension to another. Why not have Kid Buu create a hole like this one between Hell and Earth? Like, for some reason, he gets really pissed off one day, screams, and rips a hole. And then Mew and Gero can use their combined genius to exploit Buu's ability to their advantage. I mean, at least it's based on something we've seen happen before, and it would somehow explain how all these beings can travel from one dimension to another. Instead, the two 17s work together and are just somehow miraculously able to create this portal from Hell, I guess.